This feeling that people are taking advantage of me is a very troubling one. If you start to feel that people are using you, you will of course feel betrayed, resentful, and even hateful. Today I'll tell you how to deal with this with an extreme example which you won't face in your day-to-day life, but if you can apply the new perspective to this extreme example, you can easily do it in your day-to-day situations. Let's begin with that example only. A young, beautiful, struggling actress goes for an audition. She has prepared a lot and she gives her best in the audition. Then she's waiting for the result. A few days pass. She starts to become worried. She hasn't heard from anyone. But then the call comes. The director tells her, well, your audition was good, but you need a lot of work. Oh, thank you so much for getting back to me. I'm ready to work hard and learn. Okay, well then you'll have to come to my hotel room tomorrow and I'll give you some lessons. Her heart sinks. She knows what this means. She thinks, no, not again, because she's been through this before. She has had to leave so many projects before because of this. But this time she's desperate for a big break. The opportunity is bigger than ever. And she says, okay, sure, I'll see you there. Next day she goes. The director is talking very sweetly to her. He promises, if you do as I say, the role is yours. And she lets him do what he wants. They sleep together. She goes back home feeling shame and a bit of disgust. She promises herself, I would never do this again. I'll work very hard on this project, become famous, and then I won't have to go through this ever again. But then there is no message or call from the director. She tries to contact, but he's blowing her off, saying, I'm busy, I'll talk to you later. 2 days later, she finds out that the role has been given to someone else. Now that you've heard this story, what are you feeling right now? Probably sorry for the actress and angry at the director. You must be feeling how terrible this director is, and maybe even that there should be some action against him. You don't want him to get away with it. He must suffer too. Your mind right now is in judgment and justice mode. But now I'm going to ask you to do something which is difficult, very difficult. That is to separate those two things, judgment and justice, and think about them independently. Which means now we have two questions. First one, our judgment. What kind of a person is he? The answer to this must come from our understanding of human psychology and personality. Second question is about justice. What should happen to that person? The answer to this must come from our understanding of moral systems, law and order, justice system, utility of punishment in a society, etc. This video is mainly about question number one, our judgment on him. But before going to judgment, let me address the justice part briefly, so you don't feel that I'm giving this director a free pass. So the question is, what should happen to this director? It's actually a bit tricky question. Did he break any law? I don't think so. I'm not an expert. If there are lawyers watching it, please correct me if I'm wrong. The director, first of all, didn't force himself on the girl. So this isn't a sexual offense. Like in the eyes of law, it will be counted as sex between consenting adults, even though there was false promise. Also, the director didn't violate any signed contract which the actress can sue him for. And technically, a contract that involves sexual favors anyway is null and void. So whatever wrong he did isn't illegal, but it sure seems immoral. The immoral part is that he lied and manipulated. He took advantage of her desperation. He misled her. So if the law won't do anything, what can we do now? What's left is social or economic consequences. We can criticize the director, publicly shame him. Some of his friends might distance themselves from him. Industry people may choose to boycott him and not give him any work. But in this story, the actress might not even tell anyone because she herself would be worried about judgment from others. Like people saying, why would you even agree to do it? It's your fault. You should have rejected the project. Something else would have come up. This is not the right way to succeed in life, etc. Now, my opinion about using sexual favors as a means to grow in career is pretty complex and multidimensional. So that's for another day. But let's say if the actress does tell other people, doesn't care about judgment from others, then my opinion is that this director must face some social and economic consequences. And the same thing I would say for any kind of a big cheater or a liar. If you have suggestions for a better justice, do write it in comments. Would love to hear more perspectives. Please don't write the actress should castrate him or something. Like, I want constructive answers. Anyway, now let's move to the judgment part. What is your opinion on what kind of a person this director is? Probably that he's selfish, a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, a scumbag, a lowlife. As you pass on this judgment, what automatically happens is that you separate yourself from this person. You put yourself in a different class of people, which is nicer, honest, and full of integrity. That's usually the flip side of judgment. As soon as you call someone bad and look down on them for it, you have implied that you're good and better than them. This is the part which I find problematic and must be corrected in your thinking. Let me explain why. We all must remember that at the core, we are all selfish, or I should say self-concerned. At the biological level, we are creatures of instincts and desires like food, water, sex, pleasure, status, etc. And these are originating from our own body and mind. We spend our whole lives applying energy, solving problems to fulfill those desires. So inherently, we are built self-oriented. And what makes things complicated is, others are built the same. And quite often, our desires clash with theirs. You may have the desire to punch someone in the face, but that person has the desire to keep their teeth intact. Difficult problem to solve. Who should prevail? This constant inevitable conflict of desires among humans often leads to a phenomenon that I now call normal desires, unwise methods. What this means is, while trying to achieve our common desires, sometimes we do things that are idiotic or hurtful to others. Unwise methods. When you wanted to win an argument, that desire was normal, but when you punched someone during the argument, the method you used was hurtful and unwise. So if you feel someone has taken advantage of you, deep down they have normal desires just like you and me, but yeah, the method that they have chosen may have been a bad one. That director also has sexual desires just like all of us. When he met this young, beautiful actress, he thought of a method to fulfill that desire. And in this method, he lied to her, got what he wanted, and then didn't keep his end of the deal. In his method, he maximized his benefit at a high cost to someone else. He is different from us in the method, but he is similar to us in the desires. Also, please remember that you use wrong methods all the time to fulfill your desires. They may be much less wrong than what the director did, but they are unwise nevertheless. For example, if you have ever repeatedly made jokes on someone which really hurt them, you have also fulfilled your desire of fun through a method which hurt others. If you have cheated in an exam, you have also tried to fulfill your desire to have more marks through a method which was unfair to people who actually studied. If you are a person who makes personal attacks on others during a debate, you are also fulfilling your desire to prove your point through a method which is disrespecting others. Don't give yourself any clean chit. Don't put yourself in some other class. We are all in the same boat, some ahead, some behind. And this shared humanity must be remembered at all costs, no matter how much someone hurts you or takes advantage of you. Why is this so important? Because things can become really dangerous or negative once you start to see people as fundamentally different, because then it becomes very easy for you to write them off as bad or evil. It becomes very easy to hate them. You don't owe them empathy anymore. You can reduce their whole existence to their mistakes. You can create completely different rules and punishments for them because they're different. This can lead to a divided society, a society full of animosity. There's another risk for you personally. It's about your attitude. When someone seems to act selfish with you, if your basic attitude is that you'll judge them, look down on them, try to separate yourself from them, you'll end up alone and bitter, because I can guarantee you, as you'll get closer to people, you'll find out that every person is selfish to some degree. Every person will disappoint you in some way or the other. You'll reject all of them? If yes, you will not only be wrong, you'll also be miserable. Also, with that attitude, gradually, you can develop this negative view of the world itself, like that humans are selfish, egoistic, liars, cheaters. Humanity is a curse. You can turn into a humanity hater. And that's not a good experience of life, because guess what? You will always have humans all around you. Your survival is dependent on others. You have to engage with humans whether you like it or not. So it makes sense to find a way to not hate humanity, to develop some love for humanity. I have done it successfully. I love humanity. And it's partly because I love myself and I see everyone around me as fundamentally similar to me. This keeps me positive. This lets me interact with others in constructive ways. This lets me give others equal status as mine, which they deserve. So next time someone manipulates you, takes advantage of you, you can confront them, or you can distance yourself from them, or you can cut them off from your life, or you can just go gossip about them. Do whatever you want, but don't forget to see them as fundamentally similar to yourself. That's it. And are you a people pleaser? Do you care too much about what others think of you? If yes, you can watch this video. Shridhar Life School is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. To book sessions, go to our website shridharlifeschool.com.